Brothers and sisters, once again, it's a joy to be with you to celebrate this Eucharist on this, the fifth Sunday in Ordinary Time. This liturgical year, we are listening to the Gospel of Matthew. Matthew, like Mark, Luke, and John, is telling us who Jesus is. Keep in mind that each of these Gospels have a certain emphasis, focus, and a community to which they are writing. Matthew is telling the story of Jesus in a way that parallels the great story of the people of Israel in the book of Exodus. In the book of Exodus, God saves Israel through his servant, Moses, who leads the people out of slavery and from bondage in Egypt. In the book of Exodus, God called Moses to go up to Mount Sinai to receive the law. And Moses is the great teacher of the law of God. This parallels what we have heard also in the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus goes up to the mountain where he sits down. He calls his disciples and begins the Sermon on the Mount. For Matthew, Jesus is the new Moses. But he is more than just another person or figure from Israel's history. Jesus, in the Gospel of Matthew, is the one who brings the law to fulfillment, and Jesus is the one who brings God's plan of salvation to completion. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus gives 5 major discourses or teachings. The first of these discourses begin with the Sermon on the Mount, which we heard last Sunday. The intro was the introduction. And this particular teaching is quite a long sermon. Jesus preaches for 2 chapters, 5, 6, and 7. And it's in this beginning, the introduction, that we hear the Beatitudes. Jesus calls blessed the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Blessed are the merciful. Blessed are the clean of heart. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are they who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness. Blessed are you when they insult you and persecute you and utter every evil against you falsely because of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward will be great in heaven. Blessed are the poor in spirit. This is the key to the Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor in spirit. It is an interior poverty. It is something that is taking place inside us. It recognizes that we are spiritually bankrupt, that we don't have our lives together, that we need to be saved, that we are sinners, that we fail. This beatitude means I am completely dependent on God for everything. I am poor in spirit when I know and experience in my deepest self that I am utterly dependent upon God. And the most important thing about poverty of spirit is, can I accept this? Can I be vulnerable before God? Can I be open and honest about who I am? Can I be fragile? Can I trust God and give myself fully to Him? In this world, the wealthy, the powerful, the privileged are considered blessed. They have everything they can possibly desire and more. Our society measures success by how much we have, possess, and own. This means my true value as a person is equal to what I have, not who I am. One of the great things that happened to me was that I have to move from Austin to Houston as the new Archbishop. If you've ever had to move, it is very hard, particularly as you get older. But it was a great experience for me. I had to let go of a lot of things that I had accumulated, clothes that I didn't wear anymore because they didn't fit, gifts that I had kept, but they had lost their meaning, books that needed to be given to others. If our values are on what I have, then the Beatitudes sound crazy and don't make sense. This is why the Beatitudes are so radical, because they undermine the way the world sees things. And it's the way God sees things that changes everything. The kingdom of God turns things upside down. God is preoccupied about those who suffer, those who weep, those who are lowly, those who struggle, those who don't have their lives together. And I certainly fit that bill. Jesus is telling us that the things of this world never give us complete satisfaction or joy. To be blessed means the person wants to align his life with God, to be shaped by the kingdom of God, by the reign of God. Sometimes when we do God's will or we follow His plan, it doesn't mean that it will be easy or that there won't be challenges or difficulties. To be blessed is discovering that only God can satisfy my needs, wants, and desires. Everything else will fall short and flat. God is my fulfillment, our fulfillment. If we begin to live this way, then we will become salt of the earth. We will be like a city set on a mountain and like the light of the world. That's what Jesus tells us. If you begin to living out the Beatitudes, when you become totally dependent upon God, then you will become salt, like a city on a mountain, like light. Salt preserves food and adds flavor. But the salt is not the point. It's what it does. We are to be salt of the earth by persevering in what is just and infusing our society with what is good, true, and beautiful. If you add too much salt into a food, it becomes worthless. Too much. But a little gives it great flavor, and you can appreciate the dish much better. This means we are to be like that, infusing our society with what is good, true, and beautiful. We are to be the light of the world. This means we must bring light to those around us by guiding others to Christ. You will certainly remember the big snowmageddon of years past, when the electricity went out for days. And I remember very clearly staying with a family, and in the evening we'd sit around the fireplace and we lit up candles to keep the light shining in the house. Being a light to others also helps them avoid the darkness of sin and lies. With clarity, we must be ready to denounce evil and injustice. It is still around in our world today. To be a city on a mountain means we witness to Christ by my deeds and acts of kindness and charity. That first reading from Isaiah is beautiful. Share your bread with the hungry, shelter the oppressed and the homeless, clothe the naked, and do not turn your back on your own. If you remove from your midst oppression, false accusation, and malicious speech, if you bestow your bread on the hungry and satisfy the afflicted, then light shall rise for you in the darkness, and the gloom shall become for you like midday. If we live like salt light in a city set on a mountain, we will become that in our world. Brothers and sisters, the followers of Jesus Christ are known by the way they live and how they treat others, especially those most in need. Faith that does not express itself in concrete acts will remain shallow and weak. Faith has to be shown. Jesus is calling us to live in a way that is new, not like our world. Our world says, take care of yourself and don't be concerned about anyone else. As a disciple, we are called to live in a radical way that challenges our society to live for others and not for oneself. On this altar, bread and wine are transformed into the body and blood of Christ. And then at the end of Mass, we hear those wonderful words, "Go and announce the gospel of the Lord." Let me conclude with words from our Holy Father, Pope Leo. He spoke these words just a few days ago. They're quite meaningful, I think, and apply quite well to today's gospel. He said this, "You are called to bear witness to God's saving presence in history for all peoples. Even within a society which is false and reductive understandings of the human person, you are called to testify that the young, the elderly, the poor, the sick, and the imprisoned hold a sacred place above all else on God's altar and in his heart. At the same time, each of them is an inviolable sanctuary of God's presence, before whom we must bend our knee in order to encounter him, adore him, and give him glory."